So today we're going to zest and section this orange. Sectioning fruit is a classic French knife skill. They call them supremes, like the sections when they're completely done. And what I like to do beforehand is I like to zest it, because then of course you don't lose all that flavor that's on the outside of the orange. Now zesting is done with this. This is called the zester. See, it has 4 or 5 little holes here at the top there, and they basically score the outside of that skin, and you take that little bit of peel off the outside where there's a lot of essential oils and aromatics, and you can add that to baked products or use it as a garnish. When you do this, you want to hold that zester in your hand with your thumb on the bottom of that fruit, whether it's a lemon, a lime, an orange, or even a grapefruit. And you want to score the outside, kind of scrape it along the outside. Now you don't want to get too flat. Too flat means like this, so then you won't really get those nice ribbons. You want to keep it just slightly arced. And you'll see as it comes off there, you'll get those ribbons. See that? And then don't ever go over a place twice, because you don't want to get that white underneath. That's called pith. The pith is really bitter, and we don't really want to use it in anything. We just want that very outside zest. And you see how I'm holding this, I'm turning the orange, I'm kind of keeping my hand in the same position, I'm just moving the food. Okay, once that comes off, you can see we have all that nice zest right there. Okay, now before we can section this, we need to peel it. So peeling is done by taking the bottom and the top off first, okay, to the point where you can see those sections. Okay. Okay, sections. I'm going to take a little more off of that. The sections, okay. Discard your ends. And now I'm going to go around, I'm going to follow around, because that orange is round. Don't go straight down, because you'll lose a lot of flesh. Just using that tip of your knife, you want to just cut that peel and pith off. And if you have to go back around it and trim a little bit more afterwards, that's perfectly fine too. Okay, you're just trying to get the peel and not so much of the flesh. Once we get done, we'll turn this over and make sure we get all of that on the other side as well. Okay, removing your peel off your board. And we'll take this and flip this over, and you'll see we've got a couple of spots here. We'll need to take that off. It's a lot easier to trim this pith off while it's still whole, rather than do it after you've cut your sections, because they're so much smaller at that point. It's much more fine detail work. So we just take just that white part off of there. Again, right here. Okay. The last little pieces. But once we get those off, we're going to take our paring knife and just kind of visually inspect this, make sure we got all our little bits and pieces before we start cutting our sections off. Now, there's usually 8 or 9 good sections out of here that you can get. I don't generally expect that, especially your first time, you're going to be able to get all of those out of there. So what I look for is possibly 3, maybe 4 really, really nice ones. And what you want to do, you can see these lines, that's the membrane, that's where those sections begin and end, and so we want to leave that there. So when you go in here with your paring knife, you want to go on the inside of that line at a slight angle, and then here as well, releasing that section. Okay, and the same thing here, just gently holding it. Don't squeeze the orange, because you don't want to squeeze all the juices out, because that juice can be used for something later. That, and it makes kind of a mess, of course. And as you get done with this, you're going to fan those out onto a plate and display them with the zest. So the idea being that you could show, like I said, maybe 3, maybe 4 garnish quality, what we say garnish quality, orange sections. Once you get these done, if you visually inspect them, like you see that little bit of white that's on that one, we can trim that off of there and make sure that we are only showing the best ones. Okay, so take your oranges and then arrange them sort of in a pinwheel with your zest, like so. So that's the orange sections. Very nice, just like that.